to the Geeking Poetic podcast channel.
On this channel, we have shows and segments that contain adult humor,
bad language, dirty jokes,
and other stuff that is strictly for mature audiences only.
So if you're too young or too sensitive for this kind of material, then please do not watch our channel or our videos.
This channel is not for you.
Thanks much.
And now, on with the show! About to fall over.
And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geeking Poetic. I am one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. This remnant trooper down the way, he's in white, he's in blue, he knows just what to do. He is none other than
Vito.
And then the one who's green and serene, she's got the child all over her. She's just got it written all over her, literally, if you look at that shirt.
Yeah.
She's got she's a fan of the Baby Yodas.
He's so cute.
We have none other than
Megan Guess.
And if you haven't figured it out, you are here to watch us do our third recap, review, whatever you want to call it, discussion of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And this was episode 3.
Yes.
And this episode was called The Heiress.
Air ass?
Air ass. The hairy ass.
Oh.
Yeah. No, the air. I don't know. Am I pronouncing that right? It's heiress, right?
The Heiress.
Yeah.
The heiress. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done the other 2 episodes. You may or may not have seen or heard. And so far, we've been really loving the show. But I have to ask, because I haven't really had a chance to talk to you guys about it. What did you think of this episode?
It was pretty good.
Oh, okay. We got a pretty good. All right. Megan, what about you? Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Really?
Well, because there was so much things that if you knew more about it, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, it'd be way more kick-ass.
Okay.
So I'm like, until you educate us.
Right. All right. That's
Uneducated folk here.
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough, because this was my favorite episode.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
More
Yeah,
than the ice spiders?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, I mean, all three episodes have been great. Don't get me wrong. But this one I was the most excited about as I was realizing like what was transpiring and stuff. And yeah, I'm noticing online, talking to friends and just seeing people post in groups and things like that. I'm noticing a trend of a lot of people going, okay, what was this all about? Like, this feels like this is just more side story stuff that isn't getting us further to, And I understand why people feel that way if they don't know what this really meant, like who these characters are in the greater Star Wars universe and what it's going to mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they not watch the last season? Wasn't the last season, didn't it feel like a whole bunch of just mixed up stories and it all came together in the end? Why are you guys hating on it?
Right. I agree. I
Because
think
it's the internet.
Yeah, well,
That's what they do.
The interlobes.
well, I said to you when we did the first review 2 weeks ago, I said that I saw people kind of complaining because they wanted to hurry up and get to where it had left off with the end of the first
There's no
season.
instant gratification here. No.
Well, there's some gratification here if depending on what satisfies you. And see, this episode satisfied, it ticked a lot of boxes for me. Whereas like the other episodes ticked a lot of boxes for you because you're like, it had big creatures and it had all this action and stuff. For me, this was the Star Wars geekiest episode so far. And I should probably, I guess it's going to be, remember that show Clarissa Explains It All? That used to be on.
It's Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna do Larry Explains It All, because I have a feeling that a lot of you out there, and maybe even you guys, don't completely understand the significance of this episode. Because let me ask you guys: have you watched the Clone Wars?
No.
No.
No. Okay. Have you watched Rebels?
No.
Then you got no fucking idea what was going on in this episode.
Precisely.
So, okay, here's the thing. First of all, you got to understand Dave Filoni, who is like one of the showrunners for this, along with John Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
Filoni was the guy that basically helmed all the animation stuff for Lucasfilm. He did Rebels, he did Star Wars Resistance, he did the Clone Wars and all that. So that's very near and dear to his heart. And as such, he's going to work a lot of that into this show, and he's going to plant all those seeds. This episode refers back to Clone Wars and specifically Rebels a lot, because I guess I can kind of explain as we go through the details of the episode and stuff like we usually do. Also,
spoilers.
Yeah, we have to let you know. If you didn't figure it out yet, and I always put it in the title, but I know some of you don't fucking read. This show has all sorts of spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode, don't listen to us. Don't watch us. Go check it out. Then come on back. We'll keep your seat warm. Megan will make some popcorn or something. And then
I'm not sharing, but I'll make it.
She's pretty serious about her popcorn. I don't know if you know that. To the point where she'll eat it till it makes her sick.
Yes, I will.
Violently sick. I have to take popcorn away from her a lot of times, but
it's not pretty.
No, but she loves her popcorn. Anyway, hopefully by now you've seen it. You've been warned. We can get into the episode. This episode picks up almost directly after the last episode. The Razor Crest is literally just
limping to the
just bobbling its way through space to get to this planet so he can drop off old frog lady to meet her frog man.
She's still got a death grip on her eggs.
Yes, rightfully so.
Yes.
Because even throughout this, up to a point, the child is still looking at those eggs like, I will chew the fuck out of you. But so they, and also rightfully so, because boy, that landing they took.
That was hilarious,
oh
dude.
Oh my god, that was amazing. I died.
That shit.
Oh, that was so great.
It was so I think they do comedy on this show overall really well.
Yeah.
I really like the way the comedy is. Sometimes it's a little eye rolly, but I think it's pretty good. Not for
Megan,
them.
no.
She shakes her head like, nope, not enough for me.
Yep.
Anyway, they try to land on the landing pad, and it literally just slides into the ocean. They land on a planet where, first obvious Star Wars reference kind of thing, they land on a planet that is largely populated by Mon Calamari.
Yeah.
Which are, for those that don't know, that's like Admiral Akbar. It's a trap, and it's funny because everybody talks about Mon Calamari and Admiral Akbar, and they always joke about as soon as you see one, you automatically think it's a trap.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Mando lands on this planet. He goes in and he talks to one or two of these Mon Calamaris, and what's the first thing they fucking do? Sell them right into a fucking trap. Those rat bastards. Well, they also inhabit a planet with a bunch of squid head guys. There's a name for their kind. Forgive me, I'm not Star Wars geeky enough to remember off the top of my head what their kind. I know him as Squid Head because in 1983 he was in Return of the Jedi. He was one of the characters in Jabba's palace, Jabba's dungeon, whatever. And I have the action figure, and he's pretty ugly, but.
He was called Squid Head on the box, right?
On the box, he was Squid Head. I mean, it's obvious because he has a head that looks like a fucking squid. And, so these two species occupy this planet. What I do know that's interesting is that in expanded universe stuff and everything with Star Wars, those two species, don't get along. Like, they're kind of always butting heads over stuff. And the Squid Head folks...
But they're both calamari.
Well, they're both... Yeah, exactly. They always look at each other going, something's fishy about that guy. Wah, wah. Sorry. I'm talking about corny humor, and then I can...
See? You
I
can
know.
dish it out, too.
I know. But yeah, so it's interesting. They live on this planet together and everything. But the frog couple are reunited. They go off on their way, and then Mando goes into a little like diner restaurant place where apparently all they eat there is squid chowder. Yeah, I know
terrible.
that was pretty gross.
I love my fish, but God, that looked terrible.
Well, and there's a couple things. First of all, I thought that was kind of weird because the people that were eating that were the squid head people. But then there's like squid things in the chowder. So I'm like, are they just fucking cannibals?
They don't care.
Are they just eating their children? Because that's what it seemed like. I thought, yeah.
It's a different species.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean,
suppose.
fish eat fish, so maybe they're just eating a different thing
Right.
that,
Fucking fish.
Yeah. I was getting some Three Stooges Nintendo game callbacks from that scene, though, where with the
Yeah.
spoon in the
Yeah.
chowder. And
Well, I thought it was funny when that thing launched out and onto the child's face. I'm like, face hugger.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. They like their face huggers.
they do.
Well, and you know what? Yeah, so now that's like, how many references have we had to Alien and Aliens, the series?
Every good show or movie will have at least one, man. I'm just saying.
And there was a couple of, while I'm on it, there was a couple of like cool references on this show to things like that. Did you happen to notice when later on when the Mandalorians are fighting against the Imperial stormtroopers and stuff, and they cut to that scene where you just see, I guess,
The thermograph.
the thermograph and all that, and I'm like, dude, that's straight up fucking Predator. I mean, that looked straight out of Predator. I'm like, that's not an accident.
No, not at all.
I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. I love the fact that's what's great about having people like Favreau and Filoni and Bryce Dallas Howard, who directed
I
this
noticed
episode.
at the end. I was like, oh, no shit, man.
Because she did that episode in the first season that was one of the best ones.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
good on her, man. She's like really getting it, She's really integrating herself into the Star Wars universe and everything. So she's got the Jurassic Park connection and now Star Wars. So she's going to be queen
She
of
got
the
a win-win.
Yeah.
Because her dad did Solo or some of Solo, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Howards they've got a long-standing connection to George and
Yeah.
Spielberg and all of them, Kathleen Kennedy, all that.
Mhm.
So anyway, it's cool that they seem to like not have a problem, even though it's Star Wars. They put in these like little like referential kind of things to other cool things in the hobby without making it like, that took me out of the moment.
They know how to do it tastefully and not seem like a ripoff. It's more of an homage. And,
Exactly. Exactly. Well, anyway, so then after the whole face hugger soup incident and everything, one of these squid dudes ends up telling Mando that he can take him and the child on their boat somewhere to go find a Jedi. Turns out that was a load of squid bullshit. And they're just a bunch of squid billies apparently on the boat because they kicked the baby into the
Not cool, man. Not cool.
yeah, into the the tank holder
Yeah.
thing that has some big another big weird round mouth creature thing. And Mando, of course, jumps in after it, and then they trap Mando in there because once again, all anybody in this universe seems to want is fucking Beskar his armor. Apparently, Beskar is the shit. I mean, I know they kind of emphasized that in the first season, but damn, people are crazy ravenous for Beskar.
Don't they know not to fuck with the Mandalorian, though?
These people are stupid.
Apparently.
Some people just don't understand crime don't pay. Not even for squids. But anyway, it's not looking real good for
Nope.
the two of them. And then holy shit, who shows up? 3 Mandalorians show up and start kicking some serious ass. And that was pretty cool.
That
Yeah,
was cool.
that was badass. I'll give you that.
I think the Mandalorian, I loved the Mandalorians, and we'll get into them in a minute, but I love how they make them, they're so ninja-like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the way they come in and, I know they're supposed to kind of almost be more like knights in a sense, but to me, they're almost more like badass G.I. Joe ninjas or some shit. So they rescue him, and then we come to find out things are kind of weird because here we go again. Helmets are coming
Yeah.
off. And it's like, what the fuck? We went through this in the first episode with Marshall Vance, or Vanth. Marshall Vanth doing that. So it's like, are these phony ones? No, they're not phony ones. It turns out that the leader of the 3 is Bo-Katan. You guys have no idea who Bo-Katan is.
Nope.
I just know it's a bow and half of katana. So it's some kind of ninja reference.
There you go, again into ninjas. No. So here's the thing. Okay, so Bo-Katan is not new to the Star Wars universe. Bo-Katan is a very major character on Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
And throughout and stuff. And this is where I guess I will explain it all for you. So first off, I want to say Bo-Katan was performed by Katie Sackhoff, who is the same actress who did the voice of Bo-Katan on Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, nice.
So that's really cool. That's another cool thing about Dave Filoni being involved in this is anytime he's been having people like characters that already appeared on his animated shows or did voices of other things, he's been trying to get them all involved and stuff.
That's
He's
cool.
very dedicated to his old cast,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Anyway, so Katie Sackhoff plays Bo-Katan. She's a former member of the Death Watch, which is a group of Mandalorians who fought during the Clone Wars. Her sister was a Duchess, and she was overthrown and slaughtered during the Clone Wars by Darth Maul. So at that point,
Is this robot legs, Darth Maul?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because this is during the Clone Wars, so this is after the Phantom Menace and all that
Okay.
bullshit. But at that point, Bo ended up forming a group called the Night Owls. Okay, and it was an all-female, badass like ninja Navy SEAL sect of Mandalorians, which, if you looked closer on the Mandalorian armor they're wearing in this episode, you'd notice that they had that etching in
think
there,
so.
like on their helmets and on their shoulder pads. If you look at her and the other female one, they have the owl symbol, and that's because they're from
I see.
they're from the Night Owls and stuff. Her whole thing is, she kind of goes into it very briefly, but her whole thing is that she's, obviously a descendant of Mandalorian, of Mandalore and everything. She believes very strongly in it. She, at one point, not only has she fought against the Empire and people that have tried to take over Mandalore, she's fought and defeated them. And when she did that before, the one thing that she had that she inherited, given to her by Sabine Wren and the Clan Wren, who's, again, characters from that. And Sabine Wren's fucking awesome, if you know. If you know, you know. And she inherited from them the Darksaber, because the Darksaber is what Moff Gideon has at the very last scene when he cuts himself out of that TIE fighter at the end of season 1. Now, that Darksaber was an ancient weapon that belongs to Mandalore. It belongs to the Mandalorians and stuff. Not only do they need that weapon back to bring back their glory and stuff, but they really ain't happy that the Empire and Moff Gideon has this weapon. Another cool side note is that the other female Mandalorian that you saw there, her name was Casca Reeves. Obviously, she was one of the Night Owls. She had that etching on there. She was played by Mercedes Varnado, who is otherwise known as Sasha Banks from WWE.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Sasha Banks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
my coworker was just telling me about that tonight.
I honestly didn't catch that when I first watched it either. And then when I went and read up on it before I watched it again, I was like, oh, yeah. And then now I'm like, oh, yeah, duh. But it explains why she's got them moves, because she was kicking some ass and everything. And then the other guy's name, the guy there, his name was Axe or something like that. But part of the reason why they take their helmets off and they have a little bit of a different aesthetic to what they do and how they are compared to Mando, who is very negatively taken aback by this, is the fact that he was one of the children of the Watch, which means, and we knew this was revealed to us in the last season, was that he had been found, he's a foundling or whatever, he had been found by these Mandalorians and he had been raised in a certain way. And you come to realize that not all of Mandalorians are the same. And so he's never known normal Mandalorian life.
Right.
He was always brought up in this, what turns out to be a very extreme form of being a Mandalorian, which is you never take your helmet off, and you know you have these codes, and she even kind of taunts him with this is the way, like teasing him about it. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna punch you. Like, we know how serious Din Djarin is about his Mandalorian codes and shit, you know. So begrudgingly ends up teaming up with them to get the information he needs, because they tell him, well, we know a Jedi that we can direct you to if you help us steal this gear off of this Imperial ship and everything. Come to find out that they're not trying to steal gear off the Imperial ship. They're not just looking for guns and stuff. They want to take the whole fucking ship. And they want to take hostages. They want the whole deal, because they are actually trying to get to Moff Gideon and get this damn Darksaber back. Now, I don't even know if Mando even knows about the Darksaber. Like, he probably doesn't even know about it.
Didn't seem like it.
No.
And he wasn't around at the last scene, was he?
No, he wouldn't
Right?
have seen it. So he doesn't even know about all that. And even when they're kind of talking to him about the planet there, you know, with all the Mandalorians and stuff, he's like, oh, I'm not going to, that planet's cursed and it's a lost cause, blah, 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 blah. And they're like looking at him like, dude, you don't even know. It's like, man, you ain't even been there. You know, step back, man. You know, like, they get on this ship. Possibly my favorite part of season 2 so far is that fighting that goes on as the Mandalorians are taking over that Imperial ship.
That was great, yeah.
Dude, just thinking about it, it's making me tingly, man. Just everything, because you see it, you look at the ship, you look at the hallways, you look at the Imperial officer, you look at the stormtroopers, the whole way. I'm like, this is Star Wars. This is what I want from Star Wars. It's not that hard. You can do this. I don't need Dex Jetster and his stupid 50s cafe
Yeah, right.
and stupid this is a drag and all your other silly shit from, you know, and Yoda flipping around having this goofy
Hey, come
Warner
on
Brothers
now.
fight. It's stupid. It ain't Star Wars. This is Star Wars. This felt like Star Wars. It was clunky like Star Wars. It was, you know, it was kind of drawn out intense. That's classic Star Wars. And that scene, like I said, the Predator scene with all that, the way that fighting was going down, them being on the comm link and stuff. Did you notice she had the same little comm link just like 3PO has?
Oh, yeah.
And everything in A New Hope. Again, you know, most people are like, who cares? And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. But anyway, yeah, long and short is that they end up getting through to the officer that they want to get to. They want to hold him hostage. He's like, ain't about that. He ends up chewing some, what was it? Sorry, I've seen cyanide capsules before, but whatever
Like
he...
the electricity.
Yeah.
capsule
Yeah.
or something.
I was like, God damn, dude, that was grim. Like, seriously. I'm like, you can't just take some kind of like cyanide capsule that's like, you got to like shock the shit out of you. It was like, what was he chewing on, tinfoil? The long short is they don't get to Moff Gideon. They don't get the information. They don't get the Darksaber. They're, you know, I mean, come on, it wasn't going to be that easy.
Right.
However, Mando making a lot of sacrifices and everything, you know, he took some bad hits with that.
Yeah,
man.
that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
When he ran into the fray there and was like, I'll cover you. And I mean, of course he's got that badass armor that helps him too, but
That's the way
still.
everybody wants it.
Well, I suppose that's true. Yeah. But anyway, the point is he took one for the team. Everybody at the end felt like, you know, they had a new respect for each other, even though I'm sure he still is like, put your fucking helmets back on. And they told him the information that he wanted, which was, you're going to go to this planet and you're going to look for a Jedi named Ahsoka Tano. Nothing?
Nothing.
Fuck. Okay, dude. So here's the thing. So Ahsoka Tano is a very, very, very major character in the Star Wars universe now. And Ahsoka Tano was introduced during the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
Ahsoka Tano was, when she was a little youngling and everything, she was found by a Jedi named Plo Koon, who I know because I have the action figure of him. Of course I do.
Of course he does.
And she was brought to the Jedi Temple, and then she was made a Padawan of Anakin Skywalker.
Hmm.
Yes, because once Anakin was made a Jedi, It's pretty normal that all the Jedis have their Padawans, just like he was one for Obi and Qui-Gon. His Padawan was this girl, Ahsoka Tano. And she was kind of, I don't know, people, you tell me. I think she was kind of annoying at first when she was a kid in the early episodes of Clone Wars, but she got badass as time went on. Eventually, she ended up leaving the Jedi Order before she really could become a Jedi. She ended up leaving Anakin. This was before he turned into Darth Vader and caught on fire and all that shit. She ended up leaving because she joined up with Sabine Wren and the Clan Wren and everything of these Mandalorians and along with Bo-Katan to go and fight for the Mandalore and against the Empire and all that stuff. She gave all that up, so she became a big part of that. She was also a big part of the formation of the rebels, the resistance and stuff. So she actually survived the whole Order 66 fiasco thing. Ahsoka actually survives all the way past the end of the second Death Star. So she survived, past the Battle of Endor and all that. The last we saw of her at all in the Star Wars universe is that she and Sabine Wren were trying to find another sort of Jedi character. He's a Jedi, but this guy Ezra Bridger, who was a main character on Rebels. So that's kind of how they work around a lot of stuff with her, is because if she's a Jedi, then why is it that Obi-Wan and Yoda kept saying that, Luke is the last, he's our only hope and all this kind of stuff? Like, well, what about Ahsoka Tano? Well, she's not really a Jedi. You know what I mean? It's like somebody going through like police academy training, It's like, imagine if the Goot had gone through all the police academy training, but never graduated from police academy.
He was like one credit away from graduating.
Right. Yeah.
It's haunted him for the last 30 years, right?
Right. The Goot and Hightower and all those, and Bobcat Goldthwait and all them. Yeah, like just somebody needed to order 66. Those motherfuckers. But I'm not going to hate on Police Academy. Police Academy's funny. But anyway, so that's kind of their workaround when it comes to her, so that she is technically a Jedi for, or I guess she's technically not, but for all practical purposes, she's a fucking Jedi.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And she's good, and she's got all them Jedi powers and all this stuff. So, like, for a lot of us, the fact that Ahsoka Tano, it was cool enough having Bo-Katan in there and seeing the Night Owls and all, you know what I mean? Seeing more of those kind of Mandalorians and stuff come in. But the fact that we are confirmed that we are getting Ahsoka Tano, who, from what I understand, is going to be portrayed by Rosario Dawson.
Nice.
And if you know anything about Ahsoka Tano, you're like, that is literally the most perfect choice you could have ever come up with. Like, she looks, if you look at the animated character, it's like, that looks like Rosario Dawson. So that's killer. That's very exciting. And there's all sorts of possibilities, which leads me to other things. I mean, I've been thinking about this, and it's like, where do you think this is going to go? Not even so much for Mando, for Din Djarin, but where do you think this is going to go for the child? Because the main thing that's been kind of lingering in my head recently about this is these events that we're seeing right now on The Mandalorian take place so many years before the sequels being Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Now, by that point, we are led to believe Jedi are kind of gone. Luke is on his planet, hiding out somewhere, and for all, we don't know what's going on with him. Leia isn't really a Jedi, even though she's kind of trained, although we don't find that out just yet. And that's it, and then Rey is supposed to be like the last, she's the new Jedi. So here's my thing. Where's the child in all of that?
Dead.
Who said he's a Jedi?
Well, it's not even so much, but this is the point, is that the whole point of this story is we're trying to get the child to the Jedi, because clearly this child is super strong in the Force and he looks all Yoda-like and shit. obviously he does not factor into the story at all with the Force Awakens sequels. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just being a pessimist, but yeah, I mean, I'm sort of like, is this kid going to wind up fucking dead? Because people are going to freak, man.
He better not.
People are going to freak.
Too invested.
Either dead or he's gonna somehow use all his energy at the end to save something or do something magical, and that just wipes out all his powers.
Okay,
maybe
that's
I
an
don't know.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theory.
Because he's gotten weak before after using his powers. I know he's still young, but maybe he just wipes himself out before he can reach that maturity age where his powers just kind of recharge their batteries or whatever.
Right. That's an interesting theory.
His last thing is saving the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He took care of him all this time.
Yeah.
That's his whole purpose in life.
Hmm.
Maybe.
Well, because my other thing is I was like, maybe they ape a little bit of their own story too, just like what they did with Luke and Leia, where they end up like, okay, we're gonna go kind of like hide these kids over on Tatooine, and nobody's gonna know who they actually are, and just like Yoda going off and hiding on Dagobah. My thought is, I was like, I wonder if that's where they're going to take him eventually. Like, I wonder if it's like, you know what? It's too dangerous for him. He needs to mature. He could be another great Jedi master like Yoda was, because he's that powerful. Like, maybe we need to take him somewhere. And then maybe maybe they'll have, it's not unfeasible to think that they could have Luke Skywalker in this story. I mean, with all the things they can do now with technology, with face swapping and all that kind of stuff, I mean, we've already seen it. They've done it to a little bit of a degree in Star Wars with the sequels and stuff and Rogue One.
Yeah.
Like, it would be cool if maybe at the end of it, if it was like they finally get it to Luke somehow, or Luke comes from his planet and he was like, I know what to do with the child. And he takes that child and he puts him on Dagobah and is like, that's where he's going to stay. At least until, hundreds, because they can live for 900 years or so. Yoda was like 900. Maybe be like, that's where you need to stay. That's where he'll be safe.
Plenty of frogs to eat.
Dude. Well, and because, I mean, it would make sense because, think about it, nobody knows where the fuck Dagobah is. Like, if you think about that from Empire, I mean, like, you go, well, how did Luke get there? Luke doesn't know how Luke got there. That's why because R2 was like, I don't know what Yoda or Dagobah is. It's not on any of our charts here. And Luke was like, it's cool. I know where to go. Let me take the wheel for a while. He just knows. It's just planted in his head because of the Force calling to him and all those visions of Ben when he was laying in the fucking snow and taking a nap inside a tauntaun and shit and a stinky tauntaun. Anyway, nobody knows, and that's why Yoda was able to hide out there, because that planet, even though it's very, it's got all the resources that he needs and stuff, it's like off the map. Nobody.
They erased it from the Jedi databanks on that one place. From
right. Just like Well, just like not unlike that planet, trying to figure out how to go and get like they did.
Was that Kimona?
Yeah, whatever.
Camino. There it is.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So they can do that. And I mean, clearly, Vader never found Dagobah all those years, never found Yoda. The fucking Emperor, for as powerful and all that horse shit as he was, I hate the fucking Emperor, he never found it. So, I mean, that's a good option. It's like, get that child to Dagobah. Seriously. I mean, that's where he belongs,
Yeah, maybe they're hinting at it because they keep mentioning things not being on a map.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So they could be straight out telling us and we're not listening.
It could be.
Or maybe we are.
And how exciting would it be, at least for me, if they showed Dagobah again? Like, because we've not seen Dagobah since Yoda died. Like, there's been no revisitation of Dagobah. Like, I just think that would be really fucking exciting to see the child, another Yoda-like creature, back there on Dagobah with all them frogs making bad stew, singing about seagulls, and how that log had a child and all that. People are like, what is he talking about? It's the Seagulls song. Look it up, folks. But anyway, yeah, I mean, so that's one theory. And then another theory that I kind of was mulling around is Din Djarin, Mando. He's grown so much since we first saw him in the very first episode of season 1. Like the character itself has just grown and changed. We've seen so many changes in him. He hated droids. Now he's a little more open to that. You know, he used to just kind of be like a one-track mind guy. He was a bounty hunter. You know, now he's got all this empathy and, you know, he goes out of his way and all this kind of stuff, you know, showing himself to be a really good guy. It's interesting to me that now he's getting exposed to other Mandalorians who are not part of that extreme sect, you know. They're not these people that are just like, we have to hide in the shadows all the time and you never take your helmet off and you have to follow this very specific code. And do you think there's a chance that we could see Din like being more opened up and influenced by that? Because if he's going to be around people like Ahsoka Tano, who's very integrated into Mandalorian society and with all of them, do you think there's a chance we could see him maybe softening up on some of his extremist upbringing and getting to a point where he doesn't, you know, feel that everything is the way and you know, maybe take his helmet off? And if he did get to that point, how do we feel about that?
I hope he does not get to that point. I wish he had never taken his helmet off in the first season.
I agree.
Like, I would have loved to see this entire run of the series go without seeing that dude's face.
Mm-hmm.
It would suck for the actor, but it would just help the mystique of that character.
His face was too small.
What's the problem with his head?
Nothing's wrong with his face. I liked him. I loved him in Game of Thrones, but I didn't feel his face was too small there. But I think just with the armor, it just looked too small.
Well, it's a big ass armor. I mean, everybody looks like that, you know.
I know.
Look at Luke when he was in the stormtrooper armor and he took that helmet off. He looked like a little shrimp, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I don't want it to come off again.
Yeah,
I could see him softening up a little and seeing their side, but I don't really foresee him changing his ways too terribly much. They're always going to be there.
Well,
he's going to be fighting it constantly.
I mean, you know, because think about it. I mean, he has got to be, at least right now, I mean, he's extremely noble, you know. And not to say there's no nobility amongst the Mandalorians, but the Mandalorians tend to be a little bit more, I don't know. Again, they're sort of like Western ninjas in a way, you know what I mean? Like I said before, they're a little bit more rough and tumble, you know, they're kind of warriors, you know. And now he's becoming very knowledgeable and noble. And I'm like, are they going to lead towards like maybe he, you know, because like I said, we've seen it. Well, I've seen it. You know, you guys haven't seen it yet in the past with things that happen in Clone Wars and especially Rebels with the Mandalorians and all this stuff, trying to constantly fight back and rise up again and all this. Like, could he be like the new leader? You know what I mean? Like,
maybe he marries what's her face,
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan. And they became king and queen of Mandalore.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't think so. But you know, doubt it. If he was going to marry anybody, I think he'd go back and marry that one woman that he met back in the
hides in the baskets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they definitely had a thing there.
Yeah,
you know?
they did.
He got real tempted with that helmet. He was like, man, it's like, girl, I might take this helmet off for the likes of you, but no.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know. It left a lot of questions for me, you know, just realizing that they're going to start introducing all these other aspects of the story into it. And that's what I'm saying, where people are sitting there saying, well, this feels like this is just like too many side journeys. I'm like, I didn't feel like this was a side journey. The last episode was a side journey. Last episode was a
it was literally straight out of an RPG game where you got to do a side quest for like a non-playable character.
Exactly.
Hey, I need this loaf of bread to go to my cousin, 2 hours away. Can you walk it over there for me for 20 gold pieces and 25 experience points? Sure.
That
because I'm a level 1 character. That's what I have to do.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I mean, all the episodes have that to a degree. And I guess this one did, in a way, it might seem like that because he gets lassoed into doing this quest with these Mandalorians. But this really set up a lot of important things for the future. And I just think that, again, if you didn't know who Ahsoka Tano is, you didn't know who Bo-Katan is, all that kind of stuff, I think that really makes a big difference in how you perceive the importance of this episode. So for me, yeah, this episode was a big winner. It really left me with a lot of like, oh my gosh, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go with this? So I don't know,
They
folks.
crammed a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Because this is the shortest episode yet.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, Vito brought up earlier that it was like how this episode was just barely over half an hour. It's like each episode's getting shorter.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe this story just didn't have enough to fill out 45 minutes or something. You know?
It was
Could
probably
be.
COVID related.
it could be.
They didn't have enough time to film everything they
Yeah.
wanted to film.
That's true.
That's possible, or it could have just ended up in the editing room. I mean,
True.
because almost everything, they film more.
Yeah.
It could just be that they had it in the editing room and
It just
originally,
didn't work.
right? Bryce could have been sitting there and looking at it, going, "We don't need this. This is slowing down the story. Everything we need to have in this story is right here," and it wound up being 33
Yeah.
minutes. The only negative about this episode for me is that I felt I was enjoying it so much. I really felt like I could use more of this.
That's how I feel about all of them. I want more of it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to end. Keep going. Give me 2 hours.
Oof, yeah,
That might be a little much, but
right. What about you guys? What would you say was your was the big positive and the big negative?
There wasn't like a big negative for me. I just, at the end, I was like, oh, it's over already, like you guys were saying. But the positive was the ship heist, because I
Yeah.
love me a heist story. So,
Acid death and heist stories.
yeah, I'm all about those. Yeah.
What about you, Meg?
yeah, again, I don't have any big negatives. It's not like I hated it. I just wasn't able to follow it as much as I should have, I guess.
Yeah.
And I knew I was anxious to talk to you because I knew you would tell me what the fuck I missed. Because you always do. Like,
Yeah.
oh, no. Okay, now I understand what's going on. So I just wish I knew more to get the story better. And now I do, so now I can move forward.
Anxious to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Time will
Time
tell.
will tell.
Yep. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I just a couple things we didn't touch on was when he had to go and do this heist, that he left the fucking child with the
Yeah.
frog people. Why did they even take him in? Like, no, get that child away from me. He just ate all my kids. Are you crazy? And now they're hatching?
Yeah.
I did like that when he was looking at the eggs. You're like, oh, he's going to eat one. And all of a sudden, a little tadpole guy comes out. That was kind of cool.
And he wanted to take it as a pet.
Yeah.
No, I have enough pets. That was pretty cute.
Yeah, that was cute, and it was cool. Like, yeah, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, that's pretty risky leaving that child with, that child will eat the frog mama and daddy if you let him, because we've seen him eat big things before like that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
He's a grown boy.
yeah. Well, and then there was the scene at the very, very end when that creepy squid thing was crawling on that wire towards him.
Oh, gosh.
Mando reaches out and grabs it all badass,
That
and
was
then
pretty cool.
basically gives it to the kid and is like, "Here, fucking eat that."
He, like slurps it in.
Yeah, it's so gross.
So gross. I enjoyed at the end whenever he's picking up a ship. He's like, I gave you so much money. What the hell is this?
Seriously, and it's funny because again, if you know about the Mon Calamari, is that they're very noteworthy for being great shipbuilders and stuff. And then the funny part was at the very end, the very last scene when he like takes off and you see like shrapnel from the ship just, like falling off in space, like floating there. It's like, oh god. What did they do to the Razor Crest, man? But anyway, yeah, it was a cool episode. Brought up a lot of interesting questions and things to look deeper into. Whether or not we'll see Ahsoka Tano in the next episode or if we have to wait a little while longer, I don't know. We still haven't seen, other than that brief little transmission of Moff Gideon on the Imperial ship, basically telling the dude he better kill himself or whatever.
Yeah.
We still haven't really gotten to him, and there's still the big lingering question of, if and how is Boba Fett going to factor into this after we saw that bald bastard standing on that sand dune at the end of the first episode? A lot of questions not answered.
They're coming. It's a big buildup. I'm telling you, it's coming.
Well,
stick with it.
It better be, or there'll be trouble. So with that, I guess that's it, man.
Yeah.
We will be back, and we will go over the next chat. It'll be episode 4, chapter 12. And we will be back next week to talk about that one. And we hope you will check it out with us. Please like, subscribe. Most importantly, we really, really, really want your comments. Leave comments. Tell us what you thought of the episode. Tell us about some of the points we brought up, or if you have your own insights.
Your theories?
Yeah, we're doing this. We're not making money off this. We're not getting famous off this. We're doing this because we want to talk to you about this stuff, because we're a bunch of geeks that like talking about this stuff. So,
Especially that one.
yeah, especially this one. So reach out and touch someone. Unless you're a Mon Calamari. Which you know, because we know that shit's a trap. On that note, see you later, everybody.
Bye.